In today's video, we're diving into the darkest side of human curiosity, real-life experiments that took shocking, terrifying, and even tragic turns. From psychological tests that broke minds to government programs that spiral out of control, these are the real stories that sound more like horror movies than history. Before we uncover these chilling experiments, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into the bizarre and unbelievable. Scientific progress often comes at a cost, but sometimes that cost is far too high. Throughout history, researchers and governments have pushed boundaries in the name of knowledge, power, or control, and not all of them cared about the consequences. In this video, we'll explore 10 real-life experiments that went horribly wrong, leaving behind trauma, outrage, and, in some cases, irreversible damage. Let's get into the disturbing details. 10. The Stamford Prison Experiment, 1971. What began as a 2-week investigation into prison psychology quickly spiraled into chaos. Psychology professor Philip Zimbardo randomly assigned 24 students to roles as prisoners or guards in a mock prison. Within days, guards became sadistic and abusive, while prisoners suffered emotional breakdowns. The simulation became so realistic and disturbing that Zimbardo terminated the experiment after just 6 days. This notorious study revealed how easily ordinary people could be corrupted by power and exposed serious ethical concerns in psychological research, leading to major reforms in how human experiments are conducted. 9. Project MKULTRA, 1953 to 1973. The CIA's mind control program subjected unwitting American and Canadian citizens to hallucinogenic drugs, sleep deprivation, isolation, verbal and sexual abuse, and other psychological torture methods. Many participants were administered LSD without consent, resulting in at least one suicide. When exposed in 1975, most records had already been destroyed. The program's horrifying methods and disregard for human rights led to new regulations for human experimentation and highlighted the dangers of unchecked government research, though the full extent of damage remains unknown due to missing records. 8. The Tuskegee Syphilis Study, 1932 to 1972. One of history's most unethical medical studies followed 399 African American men with syphilis for 40 years to observe the disease's progression. Researchers not only failed to inform participants they had syphilis, but deliberately withheld treatment, even after penicillin became the standard cure in 1947. By the time the study was exposed and terminated, many participants had died, infected their wives, and passed congenital syphilis to their children. This atrocity led to major reforms in medical research ethics and the establishment of institutional review boards for human subjects research. 7. The Chernobyl Disaster, 1986. A safety test at Ukraine's Chernobyl nuclear power plant turned catastrophic when operators violated safety protocols and disabled key safety systems. The resulting explosion and fire released radioactive fallout across Europe, contaminating thousands of square miles. The immediate death toll was relatively small at 31, but thousands more would die from cancer and other radiation-related illnesses over subsequent decades. Wildlife mutations, a 1,000 square mile exclusion zone, and billions in cleanup costs stand as testaments to this failed experiment's devastating consequences. 6. The Russian Sleep Experiment, Urban Legend. Though actually a fictional horror story that spread online, this urban legend about Soviet researchers keeping 5 prisoners awake for 15 days using an experimental gas has become so pervasive it deserves mention. The tale claims subjects mutilated themselves and exhibited superhuman strength after days without sleep. While entirely fictional, its persistence demonstrates our fascination with the ethical boundaries of human experimentation. Real sleep deprivation studies, while not nearly as dramatic, had shown severe psychological effects after just a few days. 5. Project Sunshine, 1953 to 1957. Following nuclear weapons testing, the U.S. government secretly collected human tissue samples, particularly from deceased infants, to study strontium-90 absorption in human bones. Parents were never informed that their deceased children's remains were being harvested for radiation research. When declassified in the 1990s, the project revealed approximately 1,500 samples had been collected worldwide without consent. The disturbing methods employed in this study helped establish modern regulations requiring informed consent for tissue collection and research. 4. Unit 731, 1935 to 1945. Japan's Covered Biological and Chemical Warfare Research Unit conducted horrific experiments on prisoners during World War II. An estimated 3,000+ victims, mostly Chinese, Korean, and Russian, endured vivisection without anesthesia, deliberate infection with plague and anthrax, weapons testing, and freezing experiments. After the war, the U.S. controversially granted immunity to researchers in exchange for their data. This shocking case of scientific atrocity led to strengthened prohibitions against biological warfare and influenced research ethics guidelines globally. 3. Hole in the ozone layer, 1985. While not a deliberate experiment, the discovery of a massive hole in Earth's protective ozone layer represented the unintended consequences of widespread chlorofluorocarbon (CFC) use. Scientists in Antarctica discovered ozone depletion 50% greater than predicted, revealing how chemical innovations can create unforeseen environmental catastrophes. This accidental global experiment led to the Montreal Protocol, a rare success story in international environmental cooperation, and demonstrated how human activities can inadvertently alter planetary systems. 2. Castle Bravo Nuclear Test, 1954. In 1954, the United States conducted its largest nuclear test, known as Castle Bravo, at Bikini Atoll in the Marshall Islands. Scientists had expected a yield of 5 megatons, but due to a critical miscalculation involving the hydrogen isotope lithium-7, the explosion unexpectedly reached 15 megatons, 3 times more powerful than planned. This massive blast released intense radiation and produced a huge cloud of radioactive fallout. The fallout spread far beyond the test zone, contaminating inhabited atolls and affecting people who had no warning or protection. A Japanese fishing boat, the Lucky Dragon No. 5, was caught in the fallout zone, leading to the crew's radiation sickness and 1 death, triggering international outrage. The incident exposed the dangerous unpredictability of nuclear weapons and raised alarm about the global risks of atmospheric testing. It became a turning point in public awareness, intensifying global anti-nuclear sentiment and leading to widespread protests. Castle Bravo ultimately played a role in pressuring major world powers to negotiate and sign treaties to limit and eventually ban nuclear testing, such as the 1963 Partial Test Ban Treaty. This disaster remains a chilling reminder of the uncontrollable nature of nuclear power when misunderstood or misused. 1. The Demon Core Accidents, 1945 to 1946. 2 separate deadly accidents occurred with the same softball-sized plutonium core intended for a 3rd atomic bomb. In both incidents, scientists at Los Alamos performed risky demonstrations with the highly radioactive material, using just screwdrivers to keep beryllium reflectors from causing criticality. When these makeshift setups slipped, resulting radiation bursts delivered fatal doses to the scientists. These tragic accidents highlighted the extreme dangers of working with nuclear materials and led to much stricter safety protocols in nuclear research that continue to this day. From psychology to nuclear physics, these experiments remind us of the high price of scientific progress when ethics, safety, and caution are compromised. They've shaped modern research protocols and serve as powerful warnings about the responsibilities that come with pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go. Thanks for watching.